Hello, hello, my beautiful souls. Welcome to the intuitive card reading for the week of March 30th through April 5th. So we are finishing up the last couple of days in March, and now we have a new month of April. So yay, exciting! Just so you guys know, I'm going to be sipping on coconut water throughout this reading. I need some extra hydration today. So if I pause for a second or you hear me gulping, I apologize, but it's needed. And you might see my drink in the corner there. Oh no, you don't see it. Okay, cool. All right, anyway, you guys know what to do. Please like this video. Please subscribe to this channel if you haven't already done so. Please share this video with anybody that you think would benefit from hearing the influences and the energies of the week. Comments down below. Love to hear how it's resonating with you. I'm kind of putting this out there to the collective. I don't know if it's hitting or anything on the head or resonating, so let me know. Always love that. I always check the comments. And using the same 3 decks that I have been using, nothing new there. So let's begin, guys. What do we need? Ooh, baby. I love the regeneration. Okay, so you guys know regeneration is about building, regenerating something, redoing something, but doing it in a way that could, that emulates the original, but maybe it has a stronger foundation. So that's why I'm always saying, like, it could be the same or build back better kind of deal. So I always use like the example of like maybe your house burned down, and you have to rebuild your home, and now you can make it your dream home or make changes that weren't in your, maybe your insurance money like came in this week, for example, and that's like, or just feel spiritually or, the divine timing wise, like the time for you to do that. So now you can start to do that and kind of build it back on a better foundation and the way that you want it to look, right? And have all the things that maybe you didn't have in your old home. Or maybe like correct the mistakes that you did in the past, like that kind of thing. So whatever it is, we need to do it. Okay, it's a need. So basically it's saying like, yeah, you're going to be having this pull towards wanting to regenerate, and however that applies to you. All right, action needed is what we need to take action on. They're kind of similar energies, the need and the action needed. Moon cycles. Okay, so this is cyclical energy. It's not exactly, and it is the moon. So it's kind of saying like things ebb and flow. And so it's almost conflicting energies because the action needed is more of like a yang position, right? And then the moon cycles is more of like an intuitive position, a more yin position. So it's a little conflicting with the energies, but basically it's saying like letting things ebb and flow. But we need to take action when which one is up and which one is down? So ebb and flow, when things go, when things are good, they're good. When things are bad, they're bad, even though, I don't necessarily really love the good, bad, comparison, but, it's saying like it's basically saying like capitalize on the when things are when things are good, and step back when things are bad. So if you are going through like an example maybe for this is like when things are, maybe I should use up and down, not necessarily good and bad. So like if you are, maybe you have maybe you're moody, like just in general moody, like don't beat yourself up because you're not in a good mood to do something. Maybe you want to, I don't know, redecorate your apartment, but you're not in the mood. It's not, the creative inspiration is not hitting you or whatever. Don't force yourself to do that, right? It's basically saying like, maybe you've been feeling like that all week, and then Saturday hits and you feel like a burst of inspiration, or you just feel like it's the time to do so. So yeah, it is a little bit about like flow and alignment, but it's basically saying like you need to capitalize on the ebbs and flows. So if there's, I need to stop myself. Am I making sense? So basically it's saying just capitalize on like when you're in a good mood. Capitalize on the moment. Capitalize on the energies, like maybe a better way to say that. Like take action when the inspiration strikes you. Maybe that's a better way of saying it. Sorry guys, I have a little bit of a foggy brain today. somewhat usual. And I guess, I mean, applying to how I would apply that is like some days I have better days, with chronic illness, and some days I have worse days. So basically it's saying like, take action on the days that you have good days where you can function a little bit better for the day, and then maybe get something done. And that's really what I've been doing. But it's basically, emphasizing that. Does that make sense? Hopefully it does. If it doesn't, questions can also go down below, but hopefully that makes sense. That was a tricky one because, like I said, the energies are a little conflicting with the yin and the yang there, but I think we got through it. All right, we'll be having issues with visionary, capacity to envision what is not yet conceivable to others, willingness to proclaim a vision without regard for personal gain. Okay, issue. All right. So right off the bat, I'm kind of seeing a little bit of a pattern here just coming off of what I just said. There might be some creative blockages going on. We might be trying to be a little bit more creative, but our moods are up and down. We don't feel the creative inspiration, and then we have the issue with the visionary. Okay, where we can visualize something, and maybe we can't necessarily bring it back down to earth, and we're having issues with that. So this could be issues trying to figure out, how we want to, maybe you have an idea. Maybe you have this idea of this like awesome healing center, but you're not sure how that would apply, like how you would get, actually go about like putting a plan into action to do that, like that kind of thing. I'll share something about me. Sorry, I don't mean to like make this about me, but sometimes I feel like giving examples could make things a little bit clearer. I'm not joking. Right before I hit record on this, I was thinking about, because I was scrolling on my phone and I keep seeing, I've been chronically online for like the last 4.5 years, and I've been seeing people that live on farms. As most of you guys know, or if you don't, I live in New York City, not exactly a farm, okay? But I love living here too. So right before I hit record on this, I was thinking, how can I live in two places, a city and a country place? And there's so many things that I have to figure out. Financially is one of them, so that's my vision, but I'm having issues trying to figure that out. So maybe, it's talking, Spirit is talking to me about this, like this is how it applies for me. Like maybe all week I'll be thinking about it and getting the logistics done. I have to get well first, that's like the first thing. But like, since I am getting better, I could start like thinking about my future a little bit more. So anyway, that's how it applies to me. I would love to hear how it, applies to you guys, but that's you have a vision, but you're not sure how to execute it is like a good way to say it. And we're having issues in that area, whether it is financial, whether it's logistics, like whatever it is, or like I said, it could be some kind of block creatively, where we're not in the mood, where our mood ebbs and flows. We're not getting that creative, inspiration, and we want, maybe you're thinking about something that you want to paint or write, and you just, there's a block somewhere, or like a writer's block or something. So yeah, definitely those two cards are really, really giving me those vibes. All right, challenge. I need to go quicker, guys. I'm trying to make these under 25 minutes, but I make that a goal every time, and I don't succeed. So, all right, challenge, milk and honey. Okay, so this is bittersweet energy. All right, I like this here because it's, there's a rainbow that always jumps out at me. That means that there's gold at the end of, a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, which the rainbow comes out when, after a really hard time. So it's very like hopeful, and it's very like, oh my gosh, this thing is almost over. So I like that. However, it is like with the milk and honey, it's kind of saying it's bittersweet, like being like, you have to finish something to begin something else. You have to close the door on one thing to open another. Okay. And we might have challenges with that. Even if we've outgrown something, even if we don't like the thing anymore, maybe we are living somewhere and we're like, oh, I'm so over this place. And you've dreamed about moving for the last 5 years. It's still going to be bittersweet if you like, this is the town you met the love of your life. This is the town you had kids in, or, like something like it still has a sentimental value to it. So, that could be part of the push-pull there. So there's definitely a bittersweet energy going on. Could apply to any area of life. Yeah, certain things are just bittersweet, basically. All right, change, force, diversity. Okay, we love this. A change in diversity. I think we got this card last time. I forget where it was on the reading, but I like it here in change. So it's basically saying like things are going to be more diverse. I think it was actually here, money, finances, and career. So yeah, it could apply to that. It doesn't have to apply just to that, but you're diversifying what you do every day, diversifying your friends. You're getting a variety, like basically a variety of certain things. You could be just putting yourself in places where there are different kinds of people. It can mean so many different things, but you are not just sticking to one lane. You're not just doing the same old. And I like that. So it's kind of like we're breaking out of our comfort zones and we're kind of, diversifying. Like it can even be like this doesn't apply in my situation, but if you have only been able to eat like a certain amount of foods, maybe this week you can start to diversify your diet a little bit more. Maybe like whatever issue you had going on, you've healed it, and now you can diversify your palate, your food palate. I wish. It does not apply to me in that way right now, but soon, well, maybe not soon, I don't know. Someday, maybe I'll say, but diversifying, variety, that kind of thing, and that's good, in my opinion, good change. Maybe you move somewhere where there's more diversity, like maybe you move to like a bigger city or just like a different place in general. So, or maybe you're vacationing even, it could be like something as simple as that. So it's under change and I like it there. All right, focus. Orphan child, independence based on learning to go it alone, conquering fear of survival. Okay, so this is about learning to navigate things on your own. I like that. So it's saying focus on and make that a priority. So you are focusing on your independence, doing things on your own, and being comfortable doing that. So I like that. I mean, I don't think there's any more I could say here. Maybe you really did move to a new city, maybe by yourself. Maybe you did really leave your hometown. Okay. And so it's basically saying like, you can do this and, embrace your individuality, embrace your independence. Okay, we have reflect, thinker. Okay, so this is about using your brain, using your mind. It's under reflect, so this could definitely possibly be asking you to reflect on your overthinking, maybe how you're over-intellectualizing feelings. That's a big one. Maybe your excessive rumination, something where our mind could be going like a mile a minute, and we're not necessarily, we're just like overdoing it in some way. This could also be reflecting on your intelligence. I know that's like a weird one, but I kind of feel that. Maybe you do have more intellectual pursuits that you want to go forward with, but you're not sure how to go about that, or why you've been kind of suppressing that part of yourself, or something along those lines. So those are like good questions to ask for this week. Maybe journal them out, kind of thing. Responsibilities. Ooh, great artwork. I'll never stop saying that. These cards still amaze me, and it's been a few weeks since I've been using them. Actually, months. Tobacco, reciprocity. Oof, it's always hard to say that word with my brain. All right, so it's reciprocal energy. All right, so it's saying that's your responsibility, is to give back. If somebody helps you out, you help them. Very similar to the the giving and receiving type energy. We have a card like that, and so yeah. If you're going off my example, if you did move to a new town, maybe on the other, the receiving end, somebody new moved into the neighborhood, and somebody welcomed you when you moved to the neighborhood, maybe do the same, reciprocate that energy, kind of thing. And so that's your responsibilities, basically. So it's saying, all right, money, finances, and career. We've got rebel upside down, rejects legitimate authority out of anger, rebels out of peer pressure or fashion. Let me take a sip, guys. Okay, so this is about rebelling, not just for the sake of it. A good example for this would be, so it's under money, finance, and career. So dealing with work, maybe you're rebelling at work because, like, first and foremost, I'm sick of this. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm getting this feeling of like, I'm sick of this crap. I'm not into this anymore, like, or whatever it is. So I definitely feel frustration at work. And so rebel to me, it almost feels like there's like a little bit of like a slack off energy, or like a getting like very comfortable type energy, which isn't terrible, but like maybe you feel like you're being underpaid. Maybe you feel like you could, you're not living up to your potential. Like, I feel like it's starting to get to us this week. Like, I definitely do feel that. And I feel the same way with, like, how I put career here, money and finances too. Like, maybe, it has a lot to do with, like, how much you're getting paid, or how much, money you have, or, I definitely do feel like there's this sense of like being taken advantage, or feeling like you've been taking advantage. And the other thing that I was saying earlier is like, it almost feels like it's not necessarily the job or the career or the boss or the manager or the coworker or whatever it actually ends up being. It almost feels like it just might be like, maybe they are paying you accordingly, to what industry standards are, but the cost of living and the economy is like really killing you, or something like that. So, and that might be, I don't even want to say it's like misplaced anger, but it might not, like, the anger might not come directly from that source, if that makes sense. So definitely lots of frustration. I have no solutions. It's just basically coming up and saying, like, the best thing I can kind of say is like, I think it'll pass. But don't be surprised if this week you're feeling like extra angry, rebellious, annoyed, frustrated, in a protest type mood, to maybe not do work, slacking off is another thing. Yeah, that's what I'm getting from there. I don't know if there's too much more I can say there. All right, we have a surprise, a leg up. Okay, coming off of that one, we have leg up is always advantageous energy. We haven't had this in a while, in a few readings. So it's saying that there's a surprise advantage. Okay, so this could be a hidden talent. This could be a hidden skill. This could be a hidden, or not even hidden, like someone comes out of nowhere with an advantage for you. Take advantage of any opportunity or anything that somebody brings up. If even if it is only slightly remotely applicable to you in some way, right? So if you've been thinking about becoming a writer or something like that, and your friend says that their cousin is coming into town who writes for a major TV network, hang out with them. If they invite you out for lunch, go. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. So there's some kind of advantage and opportunity that you should take advantage of, and just do it to do it. If you think like, oh, like they're not gonna like give me a job or something, and I'm never gonna see them again, and they live out in LA and I don't live there, just meet with them, just hang out with them, so there's some kind of advantage here that you have. This could also, I've said this before, this could also mean like a privilege of some kind, which it's, privilege is not quote unquote bad, but use it for good. use it for something positive. And sometimes it is helping you get further in the world, and that's okay. That's okay. So yeah, just pay attention to that. And it's under surprise, so I wouldn't be turning down anything that you feel like is not going to help you, quote unquote, help you, because you just never really know. So yeah, be open is basically what I'm trying to say. I mean, look at the card above it. Diversify your friends, do things out of your normal comfort zone, meet new people. You just never know. So, all right, friends, we have love. Ooh, okay. So that's a good one to get under, friends. So this could be like it doesn't have to be romantic. So you could just be feeling the love between friends. Maybe you haven't said I love you to a friend in a really long time, and maybe you guys are like extra lovey to each other this week. Maybe you hang out with a friend this week that you love that you haven't seen in a really long time, and you can feel it when you hang out. This could also be a friends to lover trope going on here. So, you could realize that you do have maybe more than friendly feelings for somebody that you are close to in your general circle, in your friend group, in your community. Could be that. But, I mean, it's a good card to get anywhere, really. But, yeah, it could be any of those. How else could this manifest? This could also be... So, I mean, somebody could confess their love to you. It definitely could be reversed in that way. So, yeah, just like a very loving week, with you and your friends or community. Romantic connection, we have Fool, furiously revealing emotion, helping people laugh at absurdity and hypocrisy. Okay, so this is in the light. So, romantic connection, basically your partner's going to make you laugh. Good week to go to a comedy show. Maybe you physically do go to a comedy show with your significant other. Maybe they surprise you with tickets. That's what this could be. Something maybe serious happens and your partner makes you laugh or helps you find levity in a situation, or you do that for them. So it's in the light, so it's feeling like it's a positive thing. All right, what's important? I need to drink more coconut water. That's what's important. Okay, serendipity. Okay. All right, I think we actually got this in the last reading as well. Serendipity to me is synchronicity, alignment. We already kind of got those vibes up there with the action needed card on the moon cycles, talking about, striking when the iron is hot, meaning like striking when you feel like striking, right? Striking when the opportunity is there, that kind of thing. Don't force yourself to do something when you're not feeling it, when the ebbs and flows are not ebbing and flowing. So it's important to stick to that is basically what Spirit is saying. All right, health and wellness, we've got flow. Well. Why am I not shocked at this? But I love it in health and wellness. So what did I just say? Serendipity to me is flow and alignment. Now we have flow. So it's in health and wellness. So things are flowing this week. That's what I like to hear for this one, for sure. Things are going the way that you planned. Things are easier, or not simpler, but easier, right? So an example is you have an issue and you don't know what the issue is, and you're watching a random YouTube and somebody mentions something about your symptoms and it turns out it's your issue. You know what I mean? So it's synchronistic, okay? It's like when you're wondering about something, if you're wondering, oh my gosh, how am I going to get my insurance, my health insurance to pay for this surgery that I need? And then all of a sudden, somebody comes into your life and knows a loophole or exactly what to say to the insurance company to get your surgery approved. I don't know, right? But it definitely feels like we're aligning a lot more. Things are flowing a lot better, especially in the area of health and wellness. And I love to hear that. I wonder how that's going to manifest for me, but I love it in general, but being in health and wellness, yeah, me likey. All right, overall outcome, we got Samaritan, refine your capacity to help those you prefer to ignore. Okay, so this is saying being a good Samaritan, doing the right thing, helping other people, getting into the community. So it looks like we are doing all of that. Especially by the weekend, we feel maybe re-energized, and it kind of goes back to the first one, the regeneration, redoing something, re-energizing, redoing something, right? Like rebuilding. So it kind of feels like that, you know, and we're feeling like a good Samaritan. We're feeling like a contributing member of society again. You know, I know for me, I don't feel that way. So if this is true, if, you know, hopefully if this is true, feels true for me, how it applies, like I feel like I'm getting back out there, and that would be nice. That would be nice. And I hope this means, you know, if you've been in any kind of like recluse situation or holding yourself back in some way, or, you know, this could be like getting yourself back out there, like maybe dating, you know, like I mentioned earlier, like maybe you're getting a divorce or something. Did I mention that? You know, if you're getting if not, it applies here. If you're getting divorced, you know, maybe you haven't put yourself back out there because it's been too painful, and you're healing yourself, and you're figuring out your logistics of where to live and like that kind of stuff. So you're putting yourself back out there to contribute to society, to be you know, to help other people, to be amongst other people, like that kind of thing. So I really love that overall outcome from the week. So very, very cool. And like I said, it definitely goes back to the regeneration, because it's saying like we're rebuilding. I like this. I'm really excited. By the way, guys, the monthly reading, I hope to have that out. I was a little late last month, but I hope to have it out by the 1st of the month. So I'm excited to do the monthly reading, so don't forget to check that out. I like this week. I don't see anything that would be a red flag, to be honest with you guys. Let me look. The money, finances, and career, not great. You know, we might feel unmotivated and slacking and all that stuff. It's all right. It happens. You're human. You know, like I said, I think my only words of wisdom here is I think it'll get better at some point. So, I know it will, but, you know, as far as this goes, when, not exactly sure. So, but at least for this week, we're going to be feeling that. So, other than that, have a wonderful week, guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.